Right before my birthday, I found $30,000 missing and my credit card maxed out. My dad said the family needed it more, and my mom laughed, "You can celebrate alone. We have better plans." I calmly said, "Then don't ever call me again." That night, I silently canceled the mortgage, the truck, and her loan. I was freaking out as I stared at my credit card bill. My hands were shaking while I tried to process the insane amount staring back at me. $29,763.84. Basically, almost $30,000 just vanished. My birthday was around the corner, and I'd planned to take some time off work and maybe treat myself to a trip somewhere sunny. I hadn't had a real vacation in forever, but now my savings were completely wiped out overnight. I called the bank right away to report the charges, praying it was some hacker messing with me. But the lady on the phone told me the transactions were authorized by me. Apparently, the signatures and PIN matched. Only I hadn't bought anything. I was pacing around my tiny apartment. My brain was running wild with anger and confusion. Then it hit me. Only 2 people had access to my info: my parents. I called up my dad. He picked up after 2 rings, sounding super casual. "Hey, son, what's up?" he said. I was barely keeping it together. "Dad, my credit card is maxed out. Almost $30,000. Do you know anything about that?" I asked. There was this awkward pause that felt like forever. Finally, he spoke, sounding all defensive. "The family needed it more. You'll be fine, right? You earn a good living." I could feel the heat rising in me. "You used my credit card?" I snapped. He got snappy too. "It's not like that. You act like your money isn't ours to share. We're family. Sometimes you just have to pitch in." Before I could even respond, I heard my mom laughing in the background, as if the whole thing was a joke. "Honestly, you don't need some fancy day trip. We had better things to do with that money. You can celebrate on your own this year." My world was spinning. I'd busted my butt working 2 jobs through school, saving every penny, skipping out on going out, vacations, and new clothes. And for what? I swallowed the anger and tried to keep my voice steady. "Then don't ever call me again," I said before hanging up, cutting off my dad mid-sentence. That night, surrounded by the city lights shining through my window, I opened up my laptop and started closing all the accounts they thought I'd never touch. The joint mortgage I'd co-signed? Canceled. The truck loan guarantee for my dad? Gone. My mom's credit line tied to my name? Wiped out. I did it all quietly. No fights, no arguments, just precise clicks. It wasn't revenge. It was me finally setting boundaries I should have set ages ago. They wanted to see life without me? Well, they were about to find out, not out of spite, but because helping them was tearing me apart. You're probably wondering how this even happened, how a grown man with a stable job ended up being drained by his family. It didn't just happen overnight. That's the messed up part. They played the long game. Ever since I landed my first proper job right after college, they saw it as their win. "We sacrificed everything for you," my dad would remind me. "You owe us. Without us, you wouldn't have that degree." My mom would chime in too. "All we're asking for is a little help. Family helps family, right?" Initially, it was small things. A few $100 to cover house taxes, a couple of $1,000 for my sister's dental work. Dad's old truck died. Could I co-sign for a new one? Mom's credit card was maxed. Just temporarily, of course. I told myself it was all right. They raised me. It's what good sons do, right? But temporary morphed into forever. Before I knew it, my dad straight up expected me to cover their mortgage gaps. My mom stopped pretending she'd pay me back. My younger sister, Madison, the star of the family, quit her job to find herself and pursue artsy stuff, while I quietly covered her student loans to protect her credit. "You make 6 figures," my mom once waved off. "We're not asking for much." Sure, I made a lot, but after taxes, rent, and their endless emergencies, my bank felt like it belonged to someone working at a fast food joint. My friends started buying houses, investing, traveling. Meanwhile, I was crammed in my little apartment, munching on takeout, pretending I was saving for the future while actually just funding their lives. Then the real bomb dropped. 2 years ago, my dad got fired for embezzling money from his company, something I found out about only after I'd loaned him $40,000 to tide over a rough patch. "It's temporary, son," he'd assured me back then, his humility completely fake. "Once I'm back on my feet, I'll pay you back in full." But he never bounced back. Instead, he and Mom doubled down on draining me. My credit cards became their safety net. They used my name for loans without telling me, faking signatures, sweet-talking bank managers, whispering, "Our son will cover it if needed." Madison played her part flawlessly. Man, where do I even start with my family drama? It's like a soap opera. My sister Madison has this habit of living like a princess, always wanting the latest iPhones, fancy spa trips, and yoga teacher courses. And of course, these luxuries always end up charged to my accounts. Every time she'd flash that fake smile and drop a "I'll pay you back when my influencer career takes off, just be patient," I'd grit my teeth. Whenever I tried to set some boundaries, my family would throw guilt trips at me like a professional team. "Do you want your father to lose the house?" Or, "How can you be so selfish when your sister needs this retreat for her mental health?" they'd say. It was always, "After everything we've done for you, you've changed. Money has made you cold." But last month, I finally hit my limit. My mom wanted me to cover a $15,000 business loan for Madison's boyfriend, who calls himself an entrepreneur but can't hold a job for more than 3 months. I told her, "Nope, not happening." That's when my dad blew up and yelled at me across the dinner table, calling me a terrible son and saying I was ruining the family. My mom turned on the waterworks. Madison stormed off like a moody teen, even though she's 26, and I just sat there unmoved. I wasn't playing their game anymore. Later that night, I checked my credit account only to see a whopping $30,000 charge that I never approved. They didn't even ask, just helped themselves. The next morning, I canceled everything. My phone was blowing up with calls, voicemails, and a flood of texts. Some were pleading, others were full of anger. It was like a storm waiting for me. When I got home from work, they were there, looking like a pack of wolves. My dad's face was purple with rage. My mom had her crocodile tears going, and Madison stood there with arms crossed, oozing entitlement. Before I could even close my car door, my dad was yelling, "What did you do? You've destroyed us, you selfish fool!" I stayed cool and replied, "Not this time. I protected myself." My dad was livid. The bank had called. Everything was frozen. He shouted, "What gives you the right?" I fired back, "The right? You stole from me, forged my name on loans, maxed out my credit cards. I spent years cleaning up your messes. Now it's your turn to deal with this." My mom shrieked, "We're family. How can you do this to us?" I just said, "Family doesn't steal or lie or treat me like an ATM." Madison jumped in with her usual attitude. "Oh, please, you're being dramatic. You're rich. You didn't need that credit. We just needed a little help." I shouted back, $30,000 isn't a little help. You drained my savings, ruined my credit, and took away my future as if I owed you my life. But this time, I wasn't mad, just tired. Madison rolled her eyes like I was the problem. "You act like you're saint. You wouldn't have that job if Dad didn't push you. We gave you everything," she sneered. I growled back, "No, you took everything, and I let you, but not anymore." My dad moved closer, his face inches from mine. "You think you're better than us now? You'll regret this. he growled. Calmly, I replied, "The only regret I have is not cutting you off sooner." His fury was palpable, and he said, "You owe us. We gave you life, and you act like it's your bank account." I shot back, "I worked 2 jobs through college while Madison partied. I lived in a tiny apartment while you bought Dad his 3rd truck. Every time I tried to get ahead, you dragged me back." My mom's voice was hysterical. "We're your parents. You're supposed to take care of us," she yelled. IJ Eust said, "I'm not your retirement plan or bailout. I'm done." People started gathering, watching the family melt down like it was a street performance. My mom played her final card, falling to her knees, sobbing for all the neighbors to see. "If you walk away, we'll lose everything," she cried. I simply replied, "Then maybe Madison should get a job, and Dad should stop living beyond his means. You should take responsibility for your mess." Madison screamed, "You heartless monster! We are your family. We need you." But I just shook my head, realizing they never really did. So here's the deal. I was basically just a walking ATM for them. They needed my cash, my credit, and someone to clean up their messes every time they screwed up. But did they ever really need me? Nah, they didn't even see me as a person, just as a money machine. My dad lost it one day, yelling like mad, trying to act like they made me who I am. I calmly told him, "Nope, you didn't make me. You broke me. But guess what? I fixed myself without any of you." Then I dropped the bomb. "Don't ever call me. Don't come knocking. Don't text me. Don't act like we're family, because honestly, you never were." They just stood there, absolutely stunned, while I walked past them into my building, leaving them in the parking lot, humiliated and powerless. That night, I finally slept like a baby, without any nightmares. I felt free, and I thought the storm was over. Boy, was I wrong. That was just the beginning. Once I cut them off financially, their whole world came crashing down. Within days, the bank froze their mortgage because my name was no longer on it. They hadn't been making payments, so they went into full default. By the end of the week, they got a foreclosure notice. The house I grew up in, the one they always bragged about as a big family sacrifice, was going up for auction in 60 days. I didn't even have to lift a finger. The system handled it all. My dad's beloved $70,000 truck, gone. Repo guys showed up early one morning and took it away while my dad yelled in his bathrobe, thinking he could stop it with just his voice. But no, nothing was going to save them now. A week or so later, my mom's calls went from angry rants to desperate cries. "We're going to lose everything," she sobbed in voicemails, which I deleted after the first few words. Then Madison, my sister, showed up at my door. She looked different, skinnier, with designer bags under her eyes matching her fake designer purse. Gone was her usual smug look. Now she was just desperate. She begged, "Please, you can't just leave us like this. You know how bad things have gotten." I just stood there, feeling nothing for the first time. No pity, no guilt. I told her, "I'm done, Madison. Go home if you've still got one." She looked at me like I was crazy. "You're my brother." But I was firm. I was your bank, and I'm closed. Security had to escort her out. She didn't give up easily, though. Texts, dozens, voicemails full of tears, curses, and bargaining. She even sent distant relatives to plead her case. But I'd had enough. They never got it. They thought I was weak for giving in. But I was strong enough to finally stop. And without me to lean on, their whole life fell apart. Meanwhile, here I am, finally living life for myself. The freedom is pretty sweet. So I finally took the plunge and bought my own place, a cozy little condo that's all mine, with no mortgage hanging over my head. The peace I found there was something I'd never known. For the first time in more than 10 years, I wasn't living life purely for someone else's sake. I even went on real trips, not the kind canceled last minute, or driven by family drama, places like Iceland, Italy, and Japan. Seeing the northern lights and breathing in fresh air helped me realize that my life didn't have to smell like guilt anymore. Therapy became my lifeline as I sifted through years of emotional tricks, guilt trips, and financial burdens. My therapist had this one thing to say that really hit home. You never had parents. You had people pretending to be parents, but they were really just taking from you. And she was spot on. Things took a turn when I got a text from Madison's ex-boyfriend. He said, "Dude, I get it now. They never deserved you. Sorry it took so long for me to see it." I read it with a smile, not out of spite but from a place of peace, because, for the first time, I didn't feel like the bad guy. I felt liberated. Silence used to scare me, thinking it was the calm before the storm of another crisis or guilt-laden phone call. Now, silence feels like freedom. No more calls, no more drama, just peace. Every night I relax on my balcony, overlooking the city skyline, a glowing reminder of what I've overcome. I'm not angry anymore. That flame burned out long ago, leaving clarity in its wake. For years, I was taught that my worth was about how much of myself I could give up for others, tying loyalty to self-sacrifice for family who never cared if I was okay. They called it family, but it was really a business arrangement where I paid and they took. The most harmful lie wasn't forged documents or stolen money. It was the notion instilled from childhood that good sons endlessly provide. I've learned that good sons don't become prisoners or bank accounts, losing themselves to those who only take. They thought cutting ties would ruin me, but instead, it saved me. I still haven't read the last message from my mom, sitting unread in my inbox saying, "We didn't raise you to be this cold." Maybe she was right because they didn't raise me at all. I raised myself, and for years I mistook that for love. When I finally stopped being their foundation, their whole setup crumbled. Now I rest easy without debt collectors looming, emergency cash scrambles, or fake family dinners that felt more like tax interrogations. I start each day with coffee and calm. I'm not bitter or angry. I'm free. If you ask what I regret, it's only that I didn't choose myself sooner. Deciding to walk away wasn't about hurting them. It was about saving me. The moment I chose me, everything changed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more crazy real-life stories happening around you.